What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel, and for today's video we're going to be going over the Deathmatch Polearm. Now, I got 2 comments from my Polearm video in regards to Deathmatch and their opinion on it. Now, I'm going to touch up on it because, I'm not going to be the person to, sit down and act like I'm right when, people have actual, educated answers to be put out there. Like I always tell you guys, I'm always going to give my opinion. Whatever you feel like, you want to do, go ahead. It's a free game. It's your game. Go ahead. I'm not going to sit here, be a negative Nancy, look over what you do, tell you exactly what to do. It's your game at the end of the day. If you want to go like, White Tassel or something like that, because you like how, I don't know, it looks, go ahead. Now, I'm going to give you my opinion and say I exactly don't agree with that. I would prefer this, but hey, at your own digress, go ahead. Also, if I am wrong on something, I will touch upon it. I will never let it just slide and just sit there, like that's bad. I know there's so much content on YouTube where like they'll be totally wrong, not touch up on it in the comments or anything like that, right? So, I'm not going to be a type of person. We're going to go over this. And, shout out to these 2. Because, honestly, they're not bad answers. They're really not. So, we're going to go over it right now. I'm going to read both of them off. And then I will go back and just give my opinion on what they said. So, Risolu said, I feel like Deathmatch is the best one for Xiao, especially with defense up. If we get a possibility to refine it, it's going to be the best polearm in game. Comparing it with the Primordial Jade Spear, it has much higher crit rate on level 80 plus, while the Primordial Jade got more base damage. Crit rate is far better than base damage and is a multiplier. Also, the Primordial got no perma effect besides the 12% more damage. Like the Deathmatch, where it's a constant 24% against boss or elite mob. The defense up is really nice to have, especially for his ult, because it is taking your HP. You want him to be a glass cannon. Also, a big minus is that Primordial Jade is hard to get and even harder to get it refined. You get a like and sub anyway since you're a Xiao fan, but it would be better if you would not just put the trash code on anything that looks bad at first glance. Deathmatch is really underrated in my opinion. Respectful answer. Now we're going to go to the next one. B Drakes. Yo, why do you look down on Deathmatch Polearm? Fully max, level 90, and then max refinement would be insane. The substat will give you the crit rate would be extremely good, considering that at level 20 the weapon already gives you 14.1. Since when you refine a weapon, it always goes up by the same amount. When you refine this Deathmatch Polearm, the attack defense stat goes up by 4%, and the straight up single target damage goes up by 6%. The Polearm would end up at the max stat 32% attack defense and straight up 48% attack at max. How is this bad? Now, talking about this right now, I will agree. So I went over the video. I did come off as that Polearm was just totally trash. Like, it was in the gutter. Why would you ever pick this? Just don't pick this. And I was wrong to do that. I was honestly wrong to do that. I went over about every polearm, right? And I gave, specific situations. I could see this person going this. They like this type of play style. And I don't believe I really did that for the deathmatch. I really don't think I did. So, when I said the deathmatch was bad per se, I didn't necessarily mean that the polearm itself is bad. It's the way that's acquired and what is also surrounding it. So, with the deathmatch, right? They are totally right. Like, if you had this max refined 33.5% right here, right? A nice base attack. Apparently he knows what max would be. So 32% attack when at least 2 enemies, and then 32% attack, and then 48% attack at max. So the thing is that when I was talking about these spears, right, I was talking about the spears at base value. If we were talking about spears that were max refined, literally this would come up right here. Blackcliff. Crit damage. Maxed out, 55%. When defeating an enemy, attack is increased by 24% for 30 seconds. The stack has a maximum of 3 stacks. Duration of each stack is independent of each other. If you like time this and got full stacks at 72% damage, if we were talking about max refine, we would say, hey, is this not the best weapon? Right? Like, is this not? Like, come on. Like, the issue is that, so they're both, well, Risolu isn't exactly only talking about it, but they bring it up. They bring up, level 80, level 90, and with max refine. But Risolu said, if we do it, it's best polearm. Now, Deathmatch. You guys are relying too much on max refine. And I like to speak from a free-to-play player's point. Like, not everyone wants to spend the $10 to get this polearm. Not everyone's going to do that. We go to the battle pass right here. $10. I know plenty of people who do not have this at all whatsoever. Is it worth getting? Of course. This and the $5 pass, if you're gonna spend every month $15, you can. But a lot of people can't. Some people can't even use money in the store, in the game. Like, so with me, right? Although I'm going to be wailing out, right? I'm not gonna make everything about me and say like, yeah, you do that because it's best, it's the best thing and you should do it because I'm gonna do it and I'm gonna get it. So that means you should try for it too. No, I'm not gonna do that. That's dumb. Now, if we're gonna talk about the deathmatch, right? Just a little bit longer. Now I'm gonna go over something else with a battle pass, right? So I'm not going to steer the conversation into something else. Now you guys are talking about max refined. If it's bad. Well, actually, that's not really what you were talking about. Risolu just said that it's underrated and max refine is the best polearm in game. I'm gonna touch up on that right now. Max refine, best polearm in game. If we're talking about max refinement, no, it's definitely not the best polearm in the game. Max refinement. If we'll be technical, it's really not. Because if max refinement polearms is best in the game, you go with this. For the 6, 36, 42, and then 42, 68. This would be max refinement, best polearm. So if you guys really want to talk about max refinement, you can. Now, I know that Drake's also... Did Drake's mention that it was easier? Or... Oh, someone mentioned that it was easier. It's easier to get a battle pass. Yes and no. It's not exactly that easy. You spending $10 for it. Not everyone will do that. And then you also mentioned that it's best one for Xiao, especially for defense up. If you're looking at this polearm and you're saying especially with defense up, I cannot agree with that. Thing is with Xiao, right? You want a healer with Xiao. If you do put Barbara is definitely best healer for Xiao. Why is Barbara best healer for Xiao? Well, in my opinion, Barbara, with her E skill, not only heals Xiao, also has procs wet onto Xiao, so then Hydro procs onto enemies. Not only that, her E has stamina reduction, so he's able to spam his charge attack even more. And then when Xiao uses his ultimate attack, goes into the air, it's way easier for him to proc his swirl damage, so he does extra amount of damage because the E is on top of him, putting the wet status onto enemies. And since his damage is now an emo damage, it causes elemental reaction for his swirl to proc way more. So, and if you had Chi-Chi, or the same way with E, Chi-Chi Z, if you can time it up when the E circles around to proc the cryo, then yeah, like, or Noel, you just use Noel to heal Xiao when Xiao's out. So, like I said, Max Refine, yes, I can see where you guys are coming from, honestly, but guys need to understand that not everyone is going to be spending money on things like that. I was talking about from base value with the Polearms, like, some people really were thinking about Crescent Pike or Prototype Grudge, like that's a reasonable thing. And we're gonna be talking about the other Battle Pass weapons. So you may want to focus on Xiao, right? You think about the deathmatch, you want to go for Xiao. Look at these other weapons, right? The bow is iffy. Don't really look at that. I brought it up because, some people actually are going bow. So I just put it in there. If you want to, you can. But like Black Sword and like the Claymore, right? Listen, Xiao is not going to be your only DPS in the game. Things like Abyss, right? You'll need 2 DPS. Even with that, you really want 2 DPS anyway, right? And maybe like a third sub DPS, right? The Claymore. Like, if you're building a second DPS and you had nothing else and you wanted like a good Claymore, you would go this. Black Sword. Let's say for instance someone doesn't really know how to utilize Noelle for whatever reason. They don't, right? They just don't. And they only have one healer, aka Barbara. Barbara's on their team, and they need it for Xiao, obviously. And a second team in Abyss, they have no healer, and their main DPS needs a healer. What if they just had a high crit? Not only gets increased damage, but build a Black Sword. So, you guys mentioned the Max Refined weapon, but I'm trying to speak from way more than face value. I know you mentioned, me just trashing it, out of the start, and it's my fault for not addressing that. When I was, saying that it was trash, not necessarily for the polearm benefit, but for the battle pass benefit. You're spending money, you want good value of what you're gonna get, right? And there's multiple weapons in here, like depending on what your team needs for like gear, like these weapons still apply. Like let's go into really quick. I'm done with the deathmatch, but let's just go into like other things for Claymore, right? Like say someone had let's say someone had Beto and you just got unlucky. You don't have Rain Slasher for the damage. You don't have Sacrificial, and you have like Animus to use. Like let's say you don't have any of these. You just have like these 3 stars or whatever, and you're thinking about getting the Serpent Spine for that crit rate to help you out. Some people prefer just going to Serpent Spine over the Prototype Animus because you just have a constant damage output instead of just relying on your 25%. Because like really like all the good ones here are gotcha. Like if you want really Beto, you want Rain Slasher. You can use Animus, but some people actually prefer the crit rate, which you should later game because you want that crit rate. Some people may go this early game, but you just go this later, right? So like things like the sword, I mean, like you have what's free here, Prototype Rancor. This works out. Gives you what, base attack and defense. Well, it's actually not even percentage, so you might still want to go the Black Sword for the overall damage dealt and for the HP recovery. So, just to end the video off here, no hate to, Risolu and Drake's. No hate to them. They both had, educated opinions on the deathmatch. And I decided to give my opinion on it. Now, if you guys still want to go deathmatch, let's say you guys are actually spending on a battle pass and you want to wait those 4 months to get an extra fine, you can. Go for it. In the game, at the end of the day, like I said, short game, do what you want. If you feel as though I'm totally wrong, I can't be right in the situation, go right ahead. It's just up to you. It's up to you. Anything in this game, it's up to you. You shouldn't take people's word on a lot of these things in this game. Like, you should just, go about it on your own. See how it works out. If you prove me wrong, you prove me wrong. I'll admit that. Like, if I see a video and, like, you're doing, like, 50k damage with Deathmatch one day, and, like, I'm not even close to that with Primordial Jade, Max Refine. Hey, tell me that straight to my face. Just do it. Like, and I'll be like, damn, like, I guess I'm just wrong. Like, sorry about that, man. Like, it is what it is. But, yeah, I'm gonna end the video here. Thank you guys for watching. Sorry about that noise. Oh my god. I dropped something. But yeah, see you guys later. Thank you guys for watching.